I'm Connor. I'm a senior account executive for the Descartes fleet team, covering wholesale distribution in Europe and the UK and Ireland. Merchants and distributors are up against a number of challenges. Naturally, in the last 6 months, we've seen global conflicts happen, pushing up fuel prices, for instance. But not only that, a lot of the products that they're buying in are made with oil, for instance, meaning that they're being hit on their margins from several areas. So that naturally has stung a lot of businesses that have tight margins already. That then gets pushed onto the consumer eventually, but at the moment we're finding that a lot of them are exploring ways to cut costs and try and keep margins as stable as possible. So merchants and distributors are faced with challenges really around the way that they're planning, bespoke to them in sector really around awkward payloads. So what do I mean by that? Well, awkward payloads consists of complex product mixes. If you think about stacking a vehicle, they could have a long bit of pipe going into a vehicle and then some fencing, for instance, and then also some bricks as well going on the same vehicle at times. So that is a challenge in itself that they need to combat when thinking about planning routes. I'd say on the other side of that, they also have customer requirements a lot of the time. Because they're delivering to businesses, they need to think about things like time windows. When can we actually go and visit these businesses as well? It becomes a really big job when you're manually planning. I think merchants spend a lot of time manually planning, taking last minute orders as well. When we look at distributors or merchants, some businesses are operating in silos as well too, what I like to call as branch-based mentality. So effectively, they are looking at their transport operation as their own business, doing things in their own way. And a lot of the time means there's a lack of standardization, but they're kind of wearing so many hats to try and get products out to the customer. It's not simple of just sitting down and planning. I think they settle for okay a lot of the time. The customers that they have, they assume that they need it first thing, or they're told that they need it first thing to keep the customer happy when you think about their deliveries, making it a really awkward job as well as managing everything else. I don't think there's a straight answer on what changes for a merchant or a distributor as soon as they start using optimization. It depends on the business's problems in the first place. As an example, you might be a business and your goal is you want to fit more stops on your route, but another business would be actually we want to complete on time and full. We've got the deliveries that we can do in the day, it's just we can't complete them all. The first things that we tend to see is that optimization will start gearing towards those goals dependent on what they are for that business. They'll start to see in maybe the first depot that they're deploying in, testing those routes out, monitoring what's actually happening out there in the field to make sure the drivers are actually adhering to those sequences, and then managing that from there. So it's not a day one click overnight, you're going to get the results that you want, but you start seeing that as you monitor it and make sure that drivers are performing to the routes that have been set out through the actual system. So in our experience, when a merchant or distributor starts using optimization technology, if they're starting from scratch and they've been manually planning, we typically see savings between 10 to 20% on mileage, which is huge, as you can imagine, for a lot of these businesses. And that's a hard saving and typically recognized in year one of implementing the product. In terms of what that means for them, if we go back and think about the global economic crisis and how fuel prices are rising, it's making sure that their margins are stabilized. Typically, we see businesses spend really around 20 to 30% of their margins in this sector goes towards their last mile delivery and their logistics costs. So if you imagine the impact on that is really, really significant if we can start to save on fuel and mileage from day one.